Hey folks, what's up? Welcome back, another Genshin Impact video. So with Yoimiya coming out soon, well, coming back, I guess. It is only her first rerun, which is slightly crazy. I thought we'd talk a bit about her, right? And full disclosure, I personally am going to pull for her, and I'm not someone who pulls for everyone, alright? So, there's that. So, look forward to the polling stream, I guess. But otherwise, yeah, let's talk a bit about the unit. So the unit has gone through a lot of changes. Well, not like inherently herself, but a lot of things around her has definitely changed, right, since her debut. And I do think it was for the better for her, right? I definitely do think she got much better with a lot of the different things that have happened. And yeah, let's talk about it. Let's just get a quick overview of the unit, right? She's a DPS, obviously, Pyro. And her main way of dealing damage is basically using her E, so she could, buffer normal, left click spams arrows, and then, yeah, you spam the left click arrows until your, E runs out, which is, 10 seconds, right? So there's that. So you always will have, an 8-second cooldown where you can't really do too much, right? I mean, you could use your ult, but it's not, that crazy. Although I personally don't feel like the ult is as bad as most people think it is. I think it's slightly useful in some fun scenarios, right? When you're trying to vape, but whatever, right? It's definitely not the best ult in the game. That's for sure. But and I also do understand if people just straight up don't want to use it. If you're running a four piece, if you have a really good 4-piece Shimenawa set, right? That makes sense as well. But yeah, anyways, she is kind of a unit where you're not gonna be on her 100% of the time. Although there's no character that you're gonna be on 100% of the time, unless you're trying to solo for some reason. So I don't really think that is even a big knock against her, right? Who cares? Hey, pew pew pew, you pew for 10 seconds, and then you got 8 seconds where you can't pew. Okay, switch your other character set up, right? Bennett, whatever, this and that. Buff damage into here and there, and then you come back, it's back up, you start PvPing again. So I don't think that's some people have issue with that. I don't have an issue with that. That's just something that you'd see on paper. It's oh, there's a 10-8 second split. When you're actually using her, the E will be back up probably even before you're done, setting up with all your other characters. So that's completely irrelevant. So anyways, that aside, right, so that's her basic, I guess, kit. She is a DPS, and if we do want to talk about, okay, maybe some limitations of this DPS, right? Again, I don't think the cooldown thing is a real issue, but definitely what is a real issue is that she is single target, right? She's mostly single target. Her Q does have some AoE stuff because it's an explosion and you could maybe hit some sides, but obviously, again, this is not a big part of her damage output. It is a part, right? It is definitely a part of her damage output, again, unless you're using a selection or whatever, right? But again, your main damage output is your PvPs, and those are single target. Those are completely single target, and that slightly sucks if you're trying to, if you're facing hordes of opponents, right? It's very, very good if you're facing boss enemies, for example, we have in this abyss specifically with the thunder whatever that thing is called, the annoying flying thing, right? Or the annoying digging thing, right? One in the skies, one underground. So those big single target bosses, very, very nice for those. For multiple waves of enemies, of small enemies that get 1 or 2 shot anyways, maybe not as good as I'm not saying she's completely unusable for those. I mean, sure, you can still hit them. It's just probably gonna be a bit slower than a lot more AoE based damage dealers, right? An Ayaka or whatever, right? So there is that, which is, again, that is definitely true. So if you're looking for AoE damage dealer, she's probably not for you, right? Unfortunately. But outside of that, right, she is very, very good at what she does, at least, right? She's definitely very, very good at what she does. So let's talk a bit about some things that she's gotten, right, since her debut that I do think make her much, much better. Number one, the biggest thing that I do think she did get is the fact that you could run her with Yunjin right now. Yunjin and Yoimiya, that's the go-to teammate combo for them. Yunjin, obviously, a unit who buffs normal attacks, right? So she buffs her PPPs and makes them very, very powerful, especially if you do have Yunjin at a higher constellation level, right? You know, at C6, you get extra 12% normal attack speed as well, right? Outside of just the straight up, you know, flat attack boost that she gives Yunjin, which is very, very powerful. So there is that. Also one more issue I forgot to talk about is it's not like that big of an issue, but it's definitely it's like it's something you'll have to live with. Is just the auto targeting in the game is not the best sometimes with these normal attacks. So there's that. Yeah, just mention before I forget. So yeah, Yunjin is very good for almost every Yoimiya team that you want to run her in. Is definitely going to be running a Yunjin in there as well, because again, it's just very powerful. And the issue with running Yunjin is generally just to, you know, try to get Yunjin's ult up, right? Which sometimes could be a bit troubling, but if you do have like an extra, you know, Geo on your team or some kind of battery for, you know, like a Zhongli, right, which would also be very good with Yoimiya, because generally the other downside for Yoimiya, unfortunately, is sometimes you just get interrupted by opponent's attacks, and what better way to decrease the chances of you getting interrupted, you know, other than throwing out a Zhongli shield out there, right? So that could be, you know, helpful combo over there. So yeah, Yunjin is definitely very nice of a buff that Yoimiya got. The other thing is actually one of the artifacts that we've gotten, right, which is actually relatively nice for her. It's not like a massive buff, right? But the new artifact is all right. I mean, if you don't have other options, but I mean, generally you can still go for stuff like, you know, just the attack pieces, 4-piece Shimenawa, right? The 4-piece either Crimson Witch or Lava or just a 2-piece of Crimson Witch or you know, any of the 18% attack sets. But you also have an easier way of farming the 18% like attack pieces, just because like this one domain gives you like both, which again, I'm not even saying you should really go for it, because I generally feel like it's better just to farm the Shimenawa domain as well, right? This is relatively nice for her as well, right? The 4-piece over here, so again, you just have another option over there if you really want. But yeah, she's nice. And another great thing that you know, I think she does have in her favor is that she is relatively, you know, free to play, buildable, right? I mean, again, your teammates aren't like super costly. You probably want a shield. You probably want someone to help you vape with. Oh, also another unit, Yela is now out. That could also help her as well, right? Someone to help you with a vape with, get a shield in there maybe, and then get Yunjin, right? Which Yunjin is on her banner, thankfully, right? Also Bennett on her banner as well, so maybe instead of, you know, one of those, throw in Bennett. Bennett's obviously very powerful, unless you really want to use Bennett on some other teams, which is understandable as well. So yeah, there's a lot of options, a lot of relatively cheap options that you could run with her. And she doesn't really need any constellations. I mean, congrats if you get them. I mean, they're nice, right? I mean, god damn, man. If I could get a C6 Yoimiya, that would go crazy. That would go absolutely nuts, right? But yeah, none of these are like crazy. Her C2 is pretty nice, I'd say. But yeah, otherwise, C1's decent too. But again, none of these are like super, you know, necessary. Because like, again, C1's just mostly for burst, which a lot of people don't really use. Which I think is a mistake. I think you should use that, because why not? Why not? I mean, it's free. It's free extra damage, right? But yeah, her C2 is definitely nice, but yeah, I don't really have to pull for any of her constellations, really. But also, if you are looking for weapons, right, she does have some relatively cheap options in terms of weapons. Rust is very good for her, right? So that's definitely very cool to have, being a 4-star weapon, especially if you do have a higher refinement Rust, which I unfortunately don't, sadly. But you know, Rust being a option is very nice. Even if you don't have that, Hamayumi, which is the free weapon, right, from Inazuma, that you get, is also pretty nice for her as well. So overall, I'd say she's, you know, relatively easy to build for a free-to-play player, right? So anyways, yeah, that being said, is she something that you should pull for if you are a free-to-play. Look, if you are a big Yoimiya fan, and if you're just like really, really, really lacking some like big single target pyro, you know, DPS, and I would say sure, right? But otherwise, as much as I like Yoimiya, and as much as I am personally looking forward to pulling her and using her, I can't say I could really, really, really recommend her to people who, again, aren't, you know, just crazy, you know, just big Yoimiya fans, or people who really desperately need one of these, I guess, single target pyro damage dealers. Just again, there's just a lot of competition for pyro damage dealers, whether it's her, whether it's Hu Tao, right, whether it's Xiangling, right, as well, which is being a 4-star, right? So yeah, she's definitely not something necessary to pull for. And again, considering we are about to usher in like a new meta with Dendro coming in with Sumeru, like regardless, right, I feel like probably right now is not a really good time to really pull for anything, right? Although I say that because his banner's up. But anyways, that aside, outside of Kazuha, right, yeah, it sucks, but yeah, there's just way too many things coming out that could potentially be massively meta changing, that I'm really not sure if it's the best, you know, time to pull for again, a very nice, very, very fun, but also, unfortunately, since I have to be honest, is also a bit limited of a DPS, right? Again, in scenarios where she works really freaking well, right? But again, it's just not all scenarios, which, to be fair, is most damage dealers, right? There's not a lot of damage dealers can work in like every single situation, right? And she's definitely one of those. So yeah, she's good. She's good. If you really, really like Yoimiya as a character, if you're a big fan of her, first of all, good luck if you're pulling it tomorrow, and congratulations. And hope you do have fun with her once you do get her, right? She's definitely going to be a good time. You definitely won't regret it, right? If you are, again, a big Yoimiya fan. But if you're not, if you don't really care about Yoimiya as a character, if you're just looking for like a, you know, pyro damage dealer, I would say maybe not, right? Unfortunately, maybe not. So yeah, have fun, folks. I'll be pulling, so good luck to you guys, anyone pulling as well. And yeah, as usual, have fun, folks. I'll see you guys in the next one then.